Windows 11 was released on the 5th of October 2021 and continues Microsoft's philosophy of Windows as a service, with the operating system receiving free, continuous and regular feature updates into the future. Windows 11 brings an updated user interface that reintroduces visual features such as gradients and rounded corners last seen in Windows 7 over 10 years earlier. The Start menu has been redesigned, now being center-aligned on the screen and no longer displaying live tiles. Windows 11 introduces a new and improved Microsoft Store, which allows users to download a wider selection of apps, and, in a future update, will also allow users to download Android apps. Windows 11 is the first version of Windows to only be available in a 64-bit edition. It's also the first version to require a system with UEFI secure boot. Support for Windows 11 ends on different dates depending on the edition used. The longer supported editions at the time of recording, the initial releases of Windows 11 Education, Enterprise and Internet of Things Enterprise, will be supported until the 8th of October 2024. Windows 10 was released on the 29th of July 2015, marking the beginning of a new era of Windows that Microsoft dubbed Windows as a Service, explaining that they would release free continuous updates for Windows 10 well into the future, without the need for users to worry about purchasing and upgrading through major releases of the operating system. The aim of Windows 10 was to restore a more desktop-oriented user interface, in line with versions of Windows prior to Windows 8. This famously included the restoration of the Start menu, which had been missing in Windows 8 and 8.1. Upon its release, Windows 10 was met with a primarily positive reception. Some users did, however, express concern over increased data collection and the installation of apps and system updates without the user's permission. Support for Windows 10 ends on different dates depending on the edition used. The longer supported edition at the time of recording, the Windows 10 Internet of Things Enterprise 2021 Long-Term Servicing Channel Edition, will be supported until the 13th of January 2032. In response to the criticisms aimed at Windows 8, Microsoft released Windows 8.1 on the 17th of October 2013, around 1 year after the release of Windows 8. Windows 8.1 can be considered an update to Windows 8, but is sometimes considered a version of Windows in its own right. The aim of Windows 8.1 was to improve the Windows 8 user experience, especially for mouse and keyboard users. This famously included the reintroduction of the Start button, although the Start menu itself was still missing. Improvements were also made elsewhere in the user interface, such as the ability for the system to boot straight to the desktop, rather than to the Start screen, and the reintroduction of window title bars and controls when the system was used with a mouse, the latter arriving shortly after release by way of a system update. At the time of recording, Windows 8.1 is the oldest version of Windows for which all editions are still supported, with support scheduled to end on the 10th of January 2023, except for the Windows Embedded Industry Edition, for which support will end on the 11th of July 2023. Windows 8 was released on the 26th of October 2012 and brought the biggest changes to the Windows user interface since Windows XP over a decade earlier, with a heavy focus on optimizing the Windows user interface for touch input. This included a full-screen Start menu replacement called the Start screen, which consisted of so-called live tiles that doubled as app icons and information feeds. Also introduced was the Charms bar, a shortcut panel that would appear upon swiping inwards from the right side of the screen, providing links to the Start screen, system settings and more. Windows 8 was released to a mixed reception. Its performance and security improvements over its predecessor Windows 7 gained positive attention. Its new user interface, however, was widely criticised for being confusing and difficult to learn, especially when used on traditional desktop PCs with a keyboard and mouse. Support for Windows 8 ended on the 12th of January 2016, with Microsoft specifying that users must install the Windows 8.1 update in order to continue to receive support. Windows 7 was released on the 22nd of October 2009, and many of its new and changed features were a result of criticisms made against its predecessor Windows Vista. Windows 7 brought welcome improvements such as a redesigned taskbar with support for app pinning, plus a new virtual folder feature known as Libraries to help with organizing files. A new Action Center was also added, which presented an overview of system security and maintenance information, and tweaks were made to the User Account Control security feature, first seen in Windows Vista, to make it less intrusive. Unlike Windows Vista, Windows 7 was met with a massive positive reception upon its release, becoming a major success for Microsoft and turning their fortunes around in the wake of Windows Vista's failure. Support for Windows 7 ended on the 14th of January 2020. Microsoft does, however, offer businesses the option of paid, extended support of varying durations, depending on the edition used, with Windows Embedded POS Ready 7 being the longest supported until the 14th of October 2024.